For almost 3 years, Michael, thought my life with Claire was perfectly aligned. She stood out from anyone I'd ever met. Quick-minded, always a move ahead, her thoughts outpacing most. We met at a tech conference in Seattle, where she managed PR for a fledgling startup, and I was immersed in cybersecurity. Her lively spirit pulled me in. She valued my calm presence. Our life together wasn't perfect, but it worked. A comfortable apartment, steady jobs. To others, we appeared unbreakable. Throwing dinner parties, escaping for weekend trips, sipping wine, and laughing at goofy internet clips. From the outside, it looked ideal. Yet tiny cracks began to show, subtle hints that ate at me. Claire dodged questions about her past. Bringing up her ex, Ethan, would shut her down. He's history, she'd say with a dismissive flick of her hand. No need to dwell on that mess. I let it go, though maybe I shouldn't have. Sometimes she seemed far away, late nights at alleged work functions, coming home with traces of high-end bars and strong perfume. I told myself not to question her, to avoid being that distrustful partner. We even joined friends like Mark and Sophie for double dates, the image of a strong duo. Mark would toast, and I'd smile, playing my part. Why rock the boat? Then Claire suggested a trip to Spain. We're burning out, Michael. Let's get away, just us. It sounded perfect. Sunshine, sangria, a pause from the routine. That night I booked our flights, hoping it would reignite our spark. Had I known what lay ahead, I'd have saved my money. Barcelona was magical at first. Winding streets, the scent of warm churros, music floating from small eateries. Claire lit up, snapping photos, guiding me through lively lanes. For a brief time, I let my guard down, the unease fading. We hopped on old trams, enjoyed tapas by the ocean, and stayed up late with cheap wine, talking like we used to. When she smiled at me across the table, I wondered if I'd been wrong about her. Maybe this trip was the fix. But a few days in, the doubts returned. At a charming cafe by a busy plaza, her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, gave a small smile, nodded my way, and typed a quick reply. "Who's that?" I asked casually, sipping my coffee. "Just work," she said, placing her phone face down. Later, as we got ready for a flamenco performance, I caught her texting again, half-dressed by the mirror, angling the screen away. "Who are you talking to?" I asked. Her laugh was too light, too practiced. "Don't get all clingy, Michael. It's just boring work stuff." But she kept checking her phone all night, hiding it under the table, barely present. I tried to let it go. We were on vacation after all. Still, the discomfort lingered. That night, as she slept, clutching her phone like it might disappear, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. I had no evidence, but my gut screamed a truth I didn't want to accept. The next morning, she was up and dressed before I woke, brushing her hair by the mirror, her tone overly cheerful. "I'm heading to the Gothic Quarter," she announced. "You should rest. You look worn out." "Want me to join?" I asked, watching her closely. She laughed, tossing her bag over her shoulder. "You hate old architecture. I'll be fast." She kissed my forehead like I was a tired kid and left. The second the door closed, I grabbed my phone. Before the trip, we'd installed a location-sharing app for safety, she'd claimed. I opened it, and heard it wasn't moving toward the Gothic Quarter. It was heading to the marina. I hesitated for a moment, then slipped on my shoes and followed. The tram ride felt eternal, my jaw clenching with each jolt. When I got close to her location, I ducked into a souvenir shop and checked the app again. Her dot was still at a seaside cafe. I crossed the street carefully, keeping my head down, and there she was sitting outside, leaning toward a man with sun-bleached hair and a worn denim jacket, laughing, touching his hand like it was routine. I knew him immediately. Ethan, the so-called disaster, the buried past. I froze. What was he doing here? She'd never brought him up. They were too absorbed to see me, caught in some private history I wasn't part of. I thought about confronting them, but held back. Instead, I slipped into the shadows, took a few photos from across the street, and left. Back at the hotel, Claire was lounging on the bed, scrolling through her phone like nothing had happened. "Find any good art?" I asked, my voice even. She grinned. "Beautiful stuff. You'd have hated it." I nodded, forcing a smile. That was when I started planning my escape. That night, I couldn't sleep. Claire lay beside me, mumbling in her dreams, but I was wide awake, my chest tight with the truth. By morning, my decision was firm. While she showered, I grabbed her phone. We'd always shared passcodes, a trust thing, didn't we? I wasn't proud, but I needed answers. It took moments to find what I feared. Messages from Ethan, dozens, some recent, others from months ago. Can't wait to see you. This time's for real. I've booked your favorite place. Her responses churned my stomach. I miss you. Counting down. Michael has no clue. It wasn't a random meeting, she'd orchestrated it. The trip wasn't for us. It was a cover to see Ethan in Spain. A new place, the same betrayal. They planned to keep sneaking around while I played the clueless fool. I sent the entire thread to myself, every message, every timestamp, then deleted it from her phone, leaving no trace. No need to alert her yet. When Claire stepped out of the bathroom, wrapped in a towel, she saw me with her phone. Everything okay? She asked, smiling. I set it down and smiled back. Yeah, just thinking we should switch things up today. Something fun. Her face lit up. Finally, you're loosening up. I smiled again, but in my mind, I was already gone. Over breakfast, as she talked about plans, I quietly booked a one-way flight home. I called the hotel, claiming a family emergency to end the stay early. Everything felt surreal, but I kept my face neutral. That night, after she fell asleep, I packed quietly. Passport, charger, essentials. Before leaving, I sat at the desk by the window and wrote a note. Claire, I know it all. I saw everything. Enjoy Barcelona. This is the end. Michael. I folded it, placed it on her pillow, and left without looking back. The flight home was peaceful. I stared out the window, feeling lighter with every mile from Barcelona. No texts, no calls, I blocked her before boarding. When I landed in Denver, my phone buzzed with unknown numbers, desperate messages, missed calls. I ignored them. I had a plan. First, I drained our joint accounts, moving every cent to my personal one. Then I called a locksmith to change the apartment locks before unpacking. Next, I packed her things, clothes, jewelry, toiletries, into boxes and left them outside. I locked the door, sat in the silence, and let it sink in. 2 days later, she came back. I heard her knock, the rattle of useless keys, then louder banging as she realized she was locked out. Michael, open the door, her voice cracked. I stayed still, watching through the peephole as she spotted the boxes. She froze, hands shaking, then pounded harder, yelling my name. I didn't answer. Eventually she left. The next day Mark called, skipping small talk. What went down in Spain? Claire's a wreck. What's her version? I asked, staring out the window. She says you abandoned her after a big argument, crying to Sophie, posting cryptic stuff online. It's a mess. I almost laughed. She didn't mention flying halfway across the world to cheat? Silence. I sent him the screenshots, the entire thread. A minute later he texted. Good Lord. Word spread fast. Sophie, Mark, and others pulled away from Claire. Some apologized to me. Others quietly cut ties. I wasn't angry, just exhausted. But Claire didn't stop. She posted vague captions about betrayal and heartbreak, texted from new numbers, alternating between begging and raging. Then my boss called. Just a heads up, he said. HR got an odd anonymous email about you. Crazy accusations. We're dismissing it, but thought you should know. I knew who sent it. That was my breaking point. I wouldn't let her ruin me out of spite. The next day I met with a lawyer, Rachel. I laid out everything, the cheating, the harassment, the fake emails. She nodded, then mapped out the plan. A cease and desist letter, clear and binding. By the end of the day, it was delivered to Claire's workplace, a plain envelope on her desk, no room for misunderstanding. It stated plainly, stop contacting me, stop spreading lies or face consequences. 2 days of silence followed. Then one last message from an unknown number. Think you're smart? You're pathetic. Enjoy your empty life. I blocked it. That was the end. Friends later said Claire fell apart after the letter, trying to spin the story, but no one bought it. The truth had already spread. People distanced themselves, her lies crumbling naturally. It wasn't about revenge. I just wanted her out of my life, my mind, my world. For the first time in months, I slept deeply. The best part? I didn't need to destroy her. I just walked away, letting the truth handle the rest. Nearly a year later, I haven't seen her. I heard she moved in with Ethan, tried to make it work, but it collapsed. Same habits, different man. He threw her out months later. She left the state, probably chasing a new beginning. I didn't care. I'd moved forward. New home, closer friends, real connections. My weekends were filled with hiking, working on my bike, finally free. Looking back, leaving quietly was my smartest choice. No arguments, no final words, just the truth staring her down. Betrayal stops hurting when you stop trying to fix broken people. Once you see the deception for what it is, you release it. Sometimes I think of that morning in Barcelona. Her laughing in the sunlight, pretending everything was fine. It was never real. The true fresh start wasn't the trip. It was me walking away, never looking back.